When you argue with a fool, you just prove there are two. And I consider Congresswoman Omar, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman Tlaib, Congresswoman Presley, I think is her name. They call themselves the Squad. I consider them to be fools.
Wow. Just wow. What you just saw is the heart of the issue right here. You've got Senator John Kennedy laying it out in the plainest English possible, and then you see the firestorm that happens when there are finally some consequences. This whole situation with Ilhan Omar is something we've all been watching for a while, and it's really come to a head. Is it about free speech? Or is it about holding our elected officials accountable for the things they say, especially when they're in a position to represent the United States on the world stage? We're going to watch the full clips, and then I'm going to break down my thoughts on why Senator Kennedy is hitting the nail on the head, and why the decision to remove Representative Omar from the Foreign Affairs Committee wasn't just justified, but absolutely necessary for the integrity of our country. Stick around, and if you're tired of the political games and want to hear some straight talk, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss our discussions.
There are a lot more important issues in front of the United States Congress and the American people than who tweets what to whom. So let me say it one more time. I thought in the president's original tweet, I thought it was a poor choice of words. I think I know what the president meant, and he clarified later and said, look, if you're not happy in America, leave. Just leave, and I agree with that. But his original articulation of that concept, in my opinion, fell short of the mark. Number two, frankly, I don't know why the president felt the need to tweet on this subject at all. When you argue with a fool, you just prove there are two. And I consider Congresswoman Omar, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman Tlaib, Congresswoman Presley, I think is her name. They call themselves the Squad. I consider them to be fools. They hate America. They think America was wicked in its origins, and it's even more wicked today. They ought to be thanking America instead of calling America evil and wicked and racist. But this is America, and they have the right to their opinion. But I don't like to see the president even dignify their point of view. Besides that, I think that the Squad, as they call themselves, they are destroying the Democratic Party. You know, when your opponent is screwing up, don't interrupt him. Let him go. I mean, just looking at this from a political standpoint, if I didn't know better, I would think the members of the Squad were GOP plants. I mean, they think that illegal immigration, socialism, higher taxes, abortion are all moral goods. They think America, Israel, free enterprise are moral bads. That's not what most Americans believe. And that's kind of where I am on the subject. The president has explained his position. He has said, look, here's what I meant. If you're not happy living in America, leave. It's a free country, and I agree with that assessment.
If I am not on this committee for one term, my voice will get louder and stronger, and my leadership will be celebrated around the world as it has been.
Today's resolution, as it relates to Representative Omar, details 6 statements she made as a sitting member of Congress that under the totality of the circumstances disqualify her from serving on the Committee on Foreign Affairs.
Don't tell me this is about consistency. Don't tell me that this is about a condemnation of anti-Semitic remarks when you have a member of the Republican caucus who has talked about Jewish space lasers and an entire amount of tropes and also elevated her to some of the highest committee assignments in this body. This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me, because I didn't get a single apology when my life was threatened.
The representative can say whatever the heck she wants, but we don't have to accept it or embrace it. Individuals who hold such hateful views should rightly be barred from that type of committee.
This institution is better because of her leadership, and the Foreign Affairs Committee benefits from her perspective. So let's talk about what's really happening. Republicans are waging a blatantly Islamophobic and racist attack on Congresswoman Omar. And I've said it before, I will say it again. The white supremacy happening is unbelievable. This is despicable.
We're not removing her from other committees. We just do not believe when it comes to foreign affairs, especially the responsibility of that position around the world with the comments that you make. She shouldn't serve there.
The gentlewoman is recognized. On which the ayes and
All right, so you've seen the full story now. You saw Senator Kennedy's calm but firm breakdown, and you saw the emotional, heated debate on the House floor. Let's get into it. First off, let's be clear about what this is and what it isn't. The vote to remove Ilhan Omar from the Foreign Affairs Committee was not some random political attack, despite what her defenders like AOC are shouting. This was a direct result of a pattern of behavior and specific statements that are simply not compatible with representing America's interests. As Representative Michael Guest pointed out, this was about at least 6 specific problematic statements. And remember, the video itself notes she had to apologize for some of them because they used anti-Semitic tropes. That's not a good look for anyone, let alone someone sitting on the Foreign Affairs Committee. This brings me right to Senator Kennedy's main point, and honestly, it's the elephant in the room. He says point blank, they hate America. Now, that's a strong statement, but is he wrong? When you listen to Ilhan Omar and some of her colleagues, what you hear is a constant stream of criticism that goes beyond policy disagreements. As the senator said, they believe America was wicked in its origins and it's even more wicked today. Think about that. This isn't someone saying, I think we should have a different tax policy. This is someone attacking the very foundation and character of the nation she serves. She came to this country as a refugee, and America gave her a home and the opportunity to become a congresswoman. And yet she uses that platform to tear down the country that took her in. Instead of gratitude, we get constant condemnation. Her defenders immediately cry racism and Islamophobia. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez claims this is all about targeting women of color. But that's a tactic to shut down debate. It's an attempt to make her immune to criticism. This isn't about her background, it's about her words and her actions. When you make comments that are widely seen as anti-Semitic, you can't hide behind identity politics when you're held accountable. It's insulting to everyone's intelligence. Speaker McCarthy's justification was perfectly logical. This isn't about kicking her out of Congress. It's about putting the right people in the right positions. The Foreign Affairs Committee requires a deep-seated belief in America's role as a force for good in the world. How can you effectively engage in diplomacy and represent American interests if you fundamentally believe the country you represent is wicked? It just doesn't make sense. You wouldn't make an arsonist the fire chief. Ultimately, this comes down to the simple, common-sense idea that Senator Kennedy and the president he quoted are talking about. America is a free country. Representative Omar has the right to her opinions, but freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences. And if you truly believe that the United States is such a terrible, racist, and evil place, you have to ask yourself why you'd want to be in its government. As Senator Kennedy put it, if you're not happy in America, leave. That's not a threat. It's a statement about personal choice. If a country is that rotten to its core in your eyes, why would you stay? Why would you want to represent it? The decision to remove her from that specific sensitive committee was a stand for patriotism, and for the idea that yes, while we can always improve, America is fundamentally a good nation worth defending. And we need people on the Foreign Affairs Committee who actually believe that.